What's cracking, guys? Omar Isov here. Just kidding. It's actually Augustine. I'm so sorry for disappointing you all. Please forgive me. I know you were looking forward to Omar Isov or someone else established in the community. But hey, how's it going? Intended fully to upload the past few days of my training. It's been a little bit busy in my personal life. A lot of driving around, running a bunch of different stuff outside of work and gym. So I haven't really had the chance to sit down and fully edit this. Not like I was ever really planning to upload on a daily basis, but I would have liked to upload each individual day with additional commentary in the moment, both voiceover and me just talking into a camera. But this particular session was my week 3, day 3 on Wednesday, our secondary squat and secondary bench session. You'll see me take 2 warm-ups with 150 kilos here, or 330 pounds. I think I did a double here and then a single on the next one. Coming into this session, I had a very strong feeling that my performance was going to be suboptimal. When you've been lifting long enough, you'll be able to pick up on minute sensations and details that your body tells you, and kind of determine from that how your session's going to go. I knew coming in that I was probably going to feel like the weight was going to be heavier and that I wasn't going to be able to move as well as I wanted to. The intended working sets were a 3x6 with 170 kilos or 375 pounds. I took one single at 375 just to see how I felt, and I knew that it was going to be a lot harder than I expected it to be. This is not a weight that's unfamiliar to me. I've done this plenty of times, but today was just one of those days where I took that first set and I knew that the next 2 were not going to go any better. So I made the smart, humbling decision to go down 10 kilos for the next 2 sets. I've been trying to tell myself that movement quality and consistency is something that I should be spending more time on. I wouldn't say I have bad technique, but I do allow a little bit more deviation per set and per rep for myself than I would like and that I probably should. It's not a very good example I'm setting. So being the responsible adult, going down, making sure that my reps are clean. Also mentally, I just know that if I try to force 2 more sets with a weight that's not going to move as well as it should, given my max of 530 pounds on squat, and given that this weight's normally like a week 1 or a week 2 kind of working load, I was going to get pretty upset, and I didn't want to rag on myself mentally. So adjusted here a little bit. You'll see I have wrist wraps on. I'm thinking after this week I'll probably just take them back off from squatting. I feel as if keeping them on is not lending itself to the best upper back position and wrist position. Anyway, after squatting, I went right into benching. Went bar, which I didn't add to this video. 1 red or 155 pounds for a few reps. I jumped right from that to 265 or 2 reds, which isn't that big of a jump for me. But for the past few weeks, whenever I've tried doing that, I felt a little bit more discomfort in my pecs than I would like. Felt a little heavy in my hands. So today felt really nice, really powerful. And right after that, I jumped right into my top set of 150 kilos for 3. And it moved spectacular. At this point, I was in a much better mood than what I had left my squat at. And every subsequent back down set for volume, I did a 4x6. First set was with 120 kilos, and then the next 3 were with 125, because the first was just too easy, and I don't want to sell it short when I don't have to. And every set here, I think, got progressively a little bit better and better, both effort-wise and technically speaking, which I enjoyed thoroughly. Truthfully, when I was coming into the squats, into the working sets, I had a very, very strong desire to skip accessories, which is terrible. Not good. But you got to tell yourself, no matter how training's going, you got to get it done. There will be times when the move will be to call a session early, go home, rest up, and try again tomorrow. But tonight was not one of those nights. I knew it, and I acted appropriately on that. Here's my last set. You'll see me slide up, and the unrack is very short. Not a whole lot of bar travel from where I unracked it to the pressing point. Very, very smooth, very, very strong pressing. The current layout that I have for bench press has been working pretty well. My secondary and primary day are just about identical to each other in terms of both the setup and the loading that I'm going to use. Normally, I wouldn't mind keeping my secondary a little bit lighter, but I think pushing that has been helping me push my primary day without issue. So if they're 1-to-1 at some point, hey, I'll take it. If I can do a PR performance one day and then repeat it the next session, I'm not complaining. Over here, I'm pushing these leg extensions decently hard. I think that while these leg extensions are good for quad development, they're not really translating to a notable increase in my squat. I think that the knee flexion is just not enough to actually push it in the same way that doing a heavy leg press or a hack squat or a belt squat would. So at some point, I will probably sprinkle back in the leg press. That is the most convenient movement that I can do. Over here, we have my last working set. I did record another set with this incline chest press. It somehow recorded the floor instead of my actual set. So something that I've been doing lately that I may have mentioned in the previous video is pushing my accessory work as heavy as possible. The gist of it is to push just for 1 to 2 hard sets, maybe 3, depending on the initial workload per muscle group. Keep the rep ranges at 6 to 8, maybe 10. That seems to be a bit of the new meta that I've noticed on social media lifting, the evidence or research-based crew. However, while I do think there is validity in it, I do think keeping the total working sets per week on such a low end, it might be ideal for hypertrophy, especially as a natural lifter. Probably isn't the best thing to do when you're looking to increase objective 1 rep max performance and manage load and fatigue, especially when you're focusing on the compound lifts here. I think it'll work for a time, but there will be a time where you do need to really push the upper end of those rep ranges, add some more sets, and push hard there without, just touching those higher rep ranges will build some form of work capacity that you really just can't get through keeping the sets so low. Over here, just did a little warm-up set for deadlifts. Didn't have any chalk on, so grip was all over the place. But over here I chalked up and we hit 500 flat for a nice top triple. Crunch Fitness decided to get it in and out fairly quickly within about an hour. I am pulling on the Kilo Ohio Power Bar here, which was a pretty good top triple, followed by an even nicer 405 for a set of 8 with straps. Man, I look pretty big here. Darn. Maybe I should forget cutting down and just bulk all the way up to 225. Anyway, solid little working set here. I think next week I will add a second back down set. I think that keeping it at a 1 back down set is probably not going to push my deadlift enough. I do push higher reps on conventional. I have noticed from training history that generally, whatever I can do for 10, you can probably slap on another plate and change. And that's just to me a mental indication of like, hey, I'm this strong for 10 reps or 8 reps. I should be more than good to go for, let's say, 550 for a single or a volume, maybe even 600. Over here, you'll see my one accessory that I recorded for today, hip thrusts. Not a movement that I really do often, just because 1, I don't ever really program it to myself. 2, I already have quite the juicy caboosey from all the squats, but I figured there is novelty in adding it in. I can probably get additional hypertrophy and strength through that range of motion, through that pattern. Maybe there's some merit to it. Maybe it'll do something for my squat and deadlift. Over here, this is week 4, day 1, which was a low bar, originally a low bar triple. But again, coming in, I just had a feeling that this is not going to go well. And I, unfortunately, was very correct despite trying to be positive about it. My top set was going to be 200 for a set of 3. And instead, I did 200 for 3 singles. You'll notice that the bar, it didn't feel heavy on my back at any point, but there's just no, it just felt laggy. Like I couldn't really produce force out of the hole with this way. I knew it was going to move like this once I got to my last warm up of 3 plates. So you see, very slow, not heavy. It's just, visibly frustrated there. I threw my hat because I didn't want to throw anything else. Decided to do that other single here. Didn't move any better. Sorry, I may be getting sick. Didn't move any better, but nevertheless, we persist. And then afterwards, I did some back down volume with 3 25 pounds. I do think whatever training setup I have for squat may just be inadequate, whether it's insufficient volume, exposure timing relative to the other lower body lift to deadlift. Might need some tinkering around. We shall see. I usually find that if the squat progresses, deadlift doesn't always follow suit. And then if deadlift is really blowing up, then my squat is typically at a standstill. But yeah, I mean, these things happen. You just got to identify the trends in your training. I think it'll be more important to prioritize the squat motion as opposed to deadlift. Base deadlift around the squat instead of the other way around. Next week, hopefully, will be a little bit better with a few little tweaks in training. Over here, looks like I did not put down the 1 plate warm-up, but here's 265 and then 308, 309 technically with the pound bar for a nice warm-up. And over here, little top triple with 353 pounds. No spot except for my Lord and Savior. Very, very smooth, very, very powerful, very, very pleased. I may just take this on Wednesday again for my secondary, or a little bit lighter, maybe like 155 kilos instead of 160. And then for back down volume, we pushed 315 in kilos. For 3 sets of 6, it was going to be 4x6, but that very last rep, I just felt that it was going to be a little bit harder than I would have liked, and I kept it on the lower end. I just called it there. Not too shabby. Wish squat would have gone a little bit better, but I can't complain about bench. Take it for what it is. Like I said earlier, I'm not really sure what I want to do with this series. I think at some point I'll be answering maybe some questions. If you want to leave them in the comments below, or if you know me in person, you could always offer me some suggestions. I did receive some positive feedback on my last video, which I'm very appreciative about. I'm sorry for leaving that up until the very end here. Maybe I'll go back and edit that. But thank you for the people who stuck around. A few of you said my voice was very soothing and calming. Someone told me that they listened to it while doing their dishes and some other work. Very flattered. Maybe I'll do like an ASMR powerlifting challenge or something. I don't know. But yeah, we're approaching the end of this video. Next time I upload will probably be sometime in the middle of this week. And I'll try to come up with some more concrete topics to talk about. Anyway, peace.